Hi, everyone. This is Greg Gilpin, and I am doing a series of virtual interviews with music educators all across the country. And I want to rally the troops with positive reinforcements of ideas and considerations for and about remote teaching. This is a positive platform in order to simply reach out and help each other. And my first guest today is Melanie Popejoy. Thanks for joining me, Melanie. And please just tell us about who you are, where you teach, and what your current situation is right now.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Currently, one of the jobs that I hold here in Grand Forks, North Dakota, is I'm a professor at the University of North Dakota in the Department of Music, where I teach choral music ed courses, choral methods, and also the secondary methods and materials for band, orchestra, and choir directors. The last class that they have before they student teach, I also supervise student teachers. And currently our university has called off classes live until the end of the semester. So we are teaching remotely. We are in week 2 of teaching remotely right now as I'm speaking. Many teachers are utilizing Zoom as a conference platform for their classes, or UJA to record their lectures, or a variety of other methods and ways of teaching their classes. I also wear the hat of being the artistic director for the Grand Cities Children's Choir program. And sadly enough, yesterday I had to officially cancel the rest of our concert season as our last regular rehearsal was to be last night. Our dress rehearsal for our concert was to be in 2 weeks, and then our concert immediately following that. And that was really heartbreaking to do. However, I do recognize that as the artistic director that we do need to have closure of some sort. We always celebrate the students at the end of the season, honor our singers for the accomplishment of making a year-long commitment to something, and also charging our directors and our musical staff to be thinking about recruiting and retention, which now looks very different in the time of the coronavirus.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a whole new world, and all these technology things that we're all having to learn that have been around, but we're like, oh no, how do we do it? So
Right,
this is a big learning experience. So
absolutely.
well, wonderful. And you're certainly not alone, of course. What have you learned about your own teaching from this experience?
Well, I know that my learning curve would be much bigger right now if I had not, for the last 3 years, been teaching an online course at the university, of all things, fundamentals of music online, early music theory for non-majors, which is kind of one of those classes you feel like you need to be present at and showing and giving them 50 different ways of thinking about something. So I've had a little bit of experience with trying to connect with students online in remote learning. I personally have discovered I know that I always known that I've been an introvert, but I also recognize now how much of an extrovert educator I have been all my life. I think I'm more comfortable with my students in my classroom than I am with regular everyday people in life.
Okay.
I love the face-to-face personal contact with my students, and I've had to really think about, especially in my ensemble classes, but also in all of my classes that have been taught live, how to transcend the technology in some way to get that feeling of connection across to my students. And what I realize is that instead of thinking I have to be present, physically present, to recognize that, I know that's such a buzzword today, but phrase, being present, but I recognize now the value in relying on your senses
Uh,
of looking and listening, and of leaving space in the conversation for others. And I know everybody that knows me knows that I don't leave much space for other people in a conversation, people that I feel very comfortable with. But I really recognize that value of being present and listening. I can see, I think technology still gives us the ability to see each other's faces, but boy, I wanna feel that physical connection with my students so that I can really read the body language. And everyone is so casual and comfortable right now that I can't really read what they're feeling. And so, however, I've been relying on my senses a lot. And then the other thing that I've really had to think about, Greg, is as a choral conductor and music teacher, I am not just a teacher and conductor. I'm also a program director. So everything that goes on with my ensembles, be it with a children's choir or at the university, the planning, the concluding of the year, the wrapping up all those pieces, those final things, of being a colleague and a team player with the university faculty or with my other directors with the children's choir. They're all looking to me for a piece of me that they always look for, but now I'm having to think differently about that and deliver that product differently. So even just being a coordinator and a program director for something, I'm having to think differently.
Okay, wow. You know, one of my takeaways from that was simply the simple idea of giving space for other people. And that's very good. And the whole idea of being introverted, which, you know, a lot of people don't believe that many of us are introverted people, but I totally get it. I have to work myself up into, you know, being in front of the choir, but I'm a lot better than that than maybe just being in the grocery store with a bunch of people, you
So
know?
true.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh, that's great. Well, that's awesome. Have you learned anything about your students learning from this experience of how they are learning? What is different about that?
Absolutely. One of the things that I've learned is that when given the opportunity, and we really in ensembles and music classes uh, at uh, at the secondary level really don't give our students an opportunity to be creative, even though that's one of our national standards. Um, I have realized that my students can be way more creative than I ever imagined. They can come up with the most awesome ideas of how to present their assignments, even when they can't do it physically with others in the same room. I have also depended upon them for their creativity of how they would like to stay connected as an ensemble and what kinds of things we can do. And then I think the other thing that I've learned is something that I didn't learn. I've just been reaffirmed that our students still, as a part of their learning, they still crave being connected with us and with the other students in their classroom. And I always have known that when they feel connected and valued, that they'll do anything for you, live or remotely. And so I was reminded of that the first time that we met on our Zoom ensemble meeting, and we all just cheered because we saw each other's faces, and it was
Yeah.
what we all needed to be together, just to have that opportunity to be present together.
Wow. I think this is you know, it makes me think that, you know, it's like with any relationship, when there's a struggle, when there's a non-communication thing going on, and then when you do get together, you do find out where the good relationships are, where the kids that were connecting with you, and all of a sudden you might a light shining on the ones that I wasn't connecting with them as much as I thought. Again, and then when they're teaching, when they're wanting to learn and giving you ideas, again, you gave them space to be able to do that. That's awesome.
You're so right. And we know that students feel so much more connected to their music teachers probably than other teachers in the building. We've talked about that as music educators for years, and that they also feel comfortable with sharing, you know, their innermost feelings with us. And that that need does not stop with
No, no. Well,
coronavirus.
and they do that when they're performing their music. They're expressing, you know, the emotions. It's almost like practicing for just being a human being and expressing your emotions. So now they're putting what they practiced into this. You've got to, you know, do it from a distance, and you've got to express that. That's wonderful. I mean, I'm learning a lot from you today.
Could I share one student story?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, because it's something that you just said, that sometimes when we don't know if we're connecting with students, and this is a college student that's been in my ensemble, and very quiet though. She comes in, she does her job. She does exactly, I do engage her. I say hello. She says hello back. And interestingly enough, the other words that she says as she leaves rehearsal is she says, "Thank you, Mrs. Popejoy." Thank you for what? I mean, wow. So a student thanked me as they walked out the door for the opportunity to learn and to sing and to be together. I later asked her, you know, I really appreciate it. Could I ask what compels you to do that? Well, after one of our first Zoom meetings, about 11 o'clock at night, she was finishing up her homework, and she sent me a text message and said, I'm so sorry it's so late, but I just have to tell you, I needed to see your face today. I needed to hear your words. I needed to hear your positive voice, and it just made me feel better. Oh my gosh, I forget that.
Yeah.
I kind of thought selfishly I needed the Zoom because I needed to connect with my students. But
Right.
I also forgot the power, and when we're feeling that pressure to come up with that perfect lesson or that perfect this or that perfect technology piece to use, I had to remember that just me being present and being myself was enough.
Was enough. Yeah, that's just the connecting in a situation like this one-on-one, even on Zoom or whatever the platform is. Yeah, that's amazing. And you know, we have to right now we have to throw perfection out the window. We have to redefine what perfection is. And perfection may be just that one-on-one seeing your face today and hearing positive words when they're at home and who knows what's going on, and they're not getting to learn and they want to learn. Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any surprises that have been positive and good? I mean, you've listed a whole bunch. I guess you've listed lots of surprises here. Did anything ever stand out as far as the challenges?
Oh, yes. And I will tell you that um, first of all, a challenging win was with one of my classes that meets for a 3-hour block. We were Zooming together and doing some things. And after it, I had a text message exchange, and then the young lady picked up the phone and talked to me. And I said, you know, I am learning a lot here. I am really pushing myself in ways I never thought I could or would. And just because I want to for my students where technology is concerned. And she made this comment, and it just blew my mind. She said, well, I said, I'm kind of feeling inept with this. And she said, well, you just need to know that the fact that, you know, you're even trying to do this and to do it remotely and stay connected with us and still trying to be an effective teacher, it means something to us, because we actually have a lot of people and professors who are just putting their notes online and telling us to read the notes. And that just
Wow.
appalls me.
Yeah.
So I will say that I know that we as teachers put pressures on ourselves to think we have to know it all and do it all right now. And that first week when all of this stuff came online and I was being bombarded with this idea and this idea and this technology and that technology, I really wanted to crawl in a hole somewhere and say, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
And then I had my first meeting with my students, and I tried to be real and honest and just kind of say that, you know, I'm really old, but there are so many things I don't know right now. You know, I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how effective this is going to be. I don't know yet what your response is going to be through it all. However, there are some things I do know. And I do know that I'm going to try to do some creative things. I'm going to push myself to be the best teacher I can be. I do know that I want you to continue to grow and be successful. I do know that, you know, you're going to give me your best in every assignment in class, just as you've done before. And I do know that we are going to get through this together. And when I said that to them, there was, through the technology, I could feel their support. And I think it was when I gave myself permission to admit that I don't have all the answers, or that I can't craft the perfect lesson every time, or it's when I totally was honest with my students that I found them to be so receptive.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And I know lots of people are probably having this experience, and maybe others are afraid to even reach out and teach because they don't know what to teach. This gives you great permission to go, just do it. Just reach out. It'll happen.
It will happen.
They're going to teach us.
That's right.
Nothing else. Yeah. Is there any idea that you, you know, maybe one idea that would help another teacher teach remotely?
As far as the remote and the technology and all of that, I don't have any more answers than what someone else might have. I have taught private lessons remotely. It's possible. With Zoom, I've been doing it. You get the delay, so we don't do things simultaneously. But again, I'm using my ears and my eyes so much more because I have to. So I've been finding more things with them. But one of the things that my students were very excited about, my women's chamber choir, they're not all music majors. There are some music ed majors in there, and there are many non-majors. But, you know, I hate to admit it, but I'm one of those teachers that doesn't let my students have much choice in the music that they do. I'm pretty much dictator when it comes to that at the collegiate level. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't kind of analyze them and follow what they like, but one of the things that we decided that we could do together as an ensemble is that I'm sending them out to look for good literature on the internet, on different, you know, literature websites, through YouTube, through ensembles, be it a classical, be it an a cappella pop group, be it all kinds of ensembles. And their assignment is to bring to me one piece in each category that we've determined, and with a variety of tempos. And so we're talking about musical elements that choir directors look for.
Oh my God. And choir directors have to do, you have to learn how to program.
You do. So this is so valuable for my music ed students, but also it also is teaching my non-majors, just like it would have in middle school or high school, how to pick good music to listen to, and what are those elements that really make it good, and not just something that you just say, well, I just really like it. I want them to know, why do they like it? I think it'll help them understand why I pick things that I do a little bit more. But we're programming our concert for next fall. We are collectively, as we bring all of this literature together, then we're all going to look at it, and I'm gonna give them some more criteria, and we are gonna come down with what I think will be the perfect program, because they will have helped select it for our concert next fall. And I think it'll be something that's a product out of this tough time that we are going to be so proud to present in the fall.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. That is a great idea. Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, this has been so wonderful. You have given me inspiration, and I know when other teachers and people, any other walks of life are going to see this, I hope they are going to be very inspired, and you've given us all great, great ideas, and it's just very helpful. Thank you for doing this so much.
Well, you're so welcome, and I can't wait to watch the others and learn and be inspired by others.
Absolutely. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.